welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside podcast, where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nonsense. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy from Afar, and with me, I have the privilege of being joined by both of my co-hosts, Quiz Wizard FPL champion Chuck Bailey and super producer Ian Stimpson. Lads.
Just the three of us. We can record if we try. Just the three of us. Takes a lot of time to get us back together.
Will Smith's cancelled. Can't do it.
That was... Wait, no, just the two of us is...
That's not Will Smith.
Yeah, it's not Will Smith.
I mean, I think he did a cover of it with his son, but like...
No, first version I heard was Will Smith. Definitely. Pretty sure he wrote it.
Bill Withers. It's Bill Withers, who's gladly still with us.
Thankfully still with us.
Is he really?
Happy day. 30th of March 2020.
See, when the two of you are together, I get jokes just fly over my head because you get all English and stuff, specifically with Alan Partridge.
I have opened my laptop for the first time in almost exactly 1 month, and here we are talking about nothing again.
Ian, how is Milo?
What's going on, Fish? Yeah, Fish. Milo? Who's Milo? I'm into Fish now. Now that you've deemed Fish Chat superfluous after, I don't know, a couple of episodes ago when I listened and you said nothing's going to change now. Now I'm interested and I want you to create more narrative for me.
Yes. Is Milo doing well at school? Is he getting along with the other fish? What's going on?
The two females had a little fight over Milo. I think.
Watch out, Milo.
Yeah.
Play on, player.
I know, yeah. And they fight by sort of having a little, like they go nose to nose and sort of, it looks like they're kissing. It's not a lesbian fish thing.
It could be.
Is it sort of like on a football pitch when they just start pushing heads and then all of a sudden one of them falls to the bottom of a tank and then, you know, your referee Fish comes over, gives the other one a yellow card.
Yeah, it was quite similar. Yeah. They went to VAR, but I just deemed it that
Don't put the electrics, don't put a screen in there. It's too dangerous.
I just went with the in-tank decision.
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, don't overrule.
Chuck, how was Spain?
Spain was good. Spain was lovely. Spain, I can hear my liver.
That's usually not a good sign.
Lovely sun, a wedding, meeting friends. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was lovely. Thanks, guys.
Very nice.
I feel replenished.
Because you sound like the husk of a man.
Even more than usual.
Yeah, I am husked. Well, you know, I'd ask you guys what's been going on, but obviously I know because I've totally listened to every episode since I've been gone. Exactly what you guys have been talking about. Football and things. Chelsea. Yeah, something. Do.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec, absolutely. If you are joining us for the first time, thank you. We are very happy to have you. We are one American and two Brits, and we try to talk a bit about the Premier League, but often get distracted by fish. And if you are coming back, thank you. We appreciate it. Go to therapy. We love you. Leave us a review, 5 stars, tell a friend, patreon.com/milesoffsidepod, Ian. And we'll kick things off around here like we often do with our famous segment. Ian?
Yeah, you see, what's happened here is you haven't actually introduced it yet. You usually cough and then say it.
Yeah, you say the words.
Fucking calling me out.
Rapid. Well played. Still not quite on time with the jingles there after last week, Ian?
Yeah, okay, yeah, I did fuck the edit last. I don't know what happened, but...
First time, it only took 200 episodes. I'm not going to lie, that's pretty impressive that we went that long.
Yeah, I haven't even gone back and looked what happened. I just deleted it.
Yeah, I mean, you slid the track off by a tiny bit. The awkward silences were killing me.
And that Burnley jingle's about 20 seconds long as well.
I know. Oh, it was so good. Anyway, our first story this evening. Chelsea have won a historic third successive Women's Super League title in dramatic fashion on the final day of the season with victory over Manchester United. Sam Kerr scored 2 stunning volleys, genuinely stunning, in the second half as Chelsea came from behind in a 6-goal thriller. The Blues, who win the league by a point over second-place Arsenal, suck it. New victory would give them the title, and it marks their 3rd in a row. Did either of you have a chance to see that Sam Kerr goal? Because it was fucking ridiculous. They're both really good, but the second one specifically.
I mean, yes. She also said, do it all the time in training. Yeah, fuck off, Sam.
I love that.
Bloody talented people. And B, I like that you shoehorned this in the beginning just so you can say Chelsea and won in the same sentence. So that's quite good. Well played you for changing tack there. But no, good, bloody good on them. 3 in a row, first time that's happened in the Women's Super League. And they're bloody impressive. I've watched quite a bit of the Women's Super League this season. And just check it out. And Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City as well are all incredibly talented teams, as you would expect. But yeah, it's been really good. Really, really good. So congratulations to them.
I mean, that goal specifically was unbelievable because of the look to check where the goalkeeper is. And then she's got a second to bring it down on her chest and go, well, I've got to pitch this with exactly the right amount of
loft. She's Australian. She went, chest, nah, fuck it, bruv. Bang.
It's just vibes, was it? Just vibes.
An amazing goal. Amazing goal. If that doesn't win the Puskas, fuck you guys. Fuck all of you, everybody. And yes, Chuck, it is nice to have Chelsea doing nice things, at least on the women's side. But speaking of Chelsea, we'll go to our next story. Here's a statement by the club. Chelsea Football Club can confirm that terms have been agreed for a new ownership group led by Todd Bowley, Clearlake Capital, Mark Walter, and Hans-Jörg Weiss to acquire the club. Of the total investment being made, $2.5 billion will be applied to the purchase, the shares in the club, and such proceeds will be deposited into a frozen UK bank account with the intention to donate 100%. Intention, yeah, right. As confirmed by Roman Abramovich. In addition, the proposed owners will commit $1.75 billion in further investment for the benefit of the club. This includes investments in Stamford Bridge, the academy, the women's team, and Kingsmeadow, and continued funding for the Chelsea Foundation. The sale is expected to complete in late May, subject to necessary regulatory approvals, etc., etc., etc. I will just clear the way for you two gentlemen to have any sort of reaction to this scenario, starting with Chuck.
Asterisk, 1.75 billion over 10 years. Let's not think that they're going to do Newcastle and buy half the country in the summer.
Yeah.
It's still pending government approval,
correct?
At least, because they really need to make sure, especially after recently when Abramovich is just kind of throwing spanners out there to see what lands in the works, saying that he would like to make his money back, and I'm sure they'll find a way to make sure he gets something from this. No, business is never manipulated. Don't worry. But I think it's got to be a good thing for Chelsea to get some form of resolution light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we were talking about 31st of May, the government licence ending, June the 8th, I believe, the Premier League meeting to discuss next season, and we wouldn't have been sure if Chelsea would have been allowed to go.
Correct.
I mean, I wonder if they'd have just kind of sat outside and they'd maybe crack open a window and say, like, you're not allowed in, but, we'll let you have a look.
Was it Odom Wingy that did that on Transfer Day forever ago?
Yeah, Peter Odom Wingy.
Why do I remember that? I don't know anybody's name.
It's just like, because it gets rolled out every transfer window. Is someone doing an Odom Wingy and just driving to London City Airport and sitting around and waiting.
I'm just picturing Roman sitting outside of a bank somewhere being like, it's frozen, I'm waiting, it's going to come out. He's just sitting in his car.
Let me in.
Yeah.
He's going up to cash machines and taking out 300 quid at a time and just hoping that that'll be enough to chucking it in the boot and then just keep doing it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, it's only a good thing. We had less than a month. I mean, technically it's not officially done, but it's looking likely. And of the outcome, Ian, we kind of talked a little bit about this when it was just me and you. This seems like the least of the evils. They do a pretty good job running the Dodgers. Do you have any kind of takes in that regard or anywhere else with regards to this story?
No, not really. We've talked about it, and it seems like this is, as you say, you're the happiest with it because there's analytics involved and that they might not just be scattergun with any money that they do invest. There's been some, well, apart from your previous owner, there's been some pretty awful people in the pot to possibly get the club again. So
quite a few, yes.
Yeah, so this does seem like a good fit for now, and but of course, still got to pass the fit and proper persons test, which is very stringent and
I don't know. Did you see him at the match, though? He's pretty fit, man. He looks good with those sunglasses. He's got that sweeping hair. Very handsome looking on him. Very American, I will say.
have they just been doing it on general
Yeah,
attractiveness?
fit and proper persons is just they get a celebrity glam up and they dress them up. They take them to a hairdresser's.
Yeah.
They go to the gym for about 6 months, have a PT, and he can bench like 150 kilos. Like, good on him. Give him the club. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, it's still going on. It feels like we've been talking about this for forever now, on and off in various stages. Be interesting to see now with transfer windows and that kind of thing starting to loom of whether they have a few marquee signings to get started, get everyone on side, refresh a bit of the team, where they're going to lose, probably specifically kind of in defence, maybe with all of Chelsea's various issues. And then I think the commitments and the not being able to sell majority shares for 10 years at least, something like that shows a bit more of a statement, improving Stamford Bridge, doing even more work for their academy, improving the women's team. I think those are kind of the smart things to say if you are going to go along with what will then effectively be another, in a way, form of sports washing, I guess. But like we said, that these are the least awful people as good as billionaires can be.
Yeah.
But, good that the club gets to exist.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see what they do with the stadium. I think that's the biggest obvious point of possible improvement for Chelsea, both as long-term
More
revenue.
cheese room!
Yes, cheese room.
Cheese!
Get me a smack. I'll call Chelsea. I'll call Smack. I'll be like, can we have a smack at the stadium? That'd be amazing. Maybe a Dave & Buster's in there. I don't know. Some sort of fun stuff. It's going to look real American in that area, hopefully soon, which I think will be really cool because that's like a fun way to be. Americans like fun. British people hate fun kind of vibes there. Yeah. Money would be good, though. But yeah, I'm happy. All right. Well, let's move on from there then. And we will go on to some more socially conscious-minded stories, as we like to do sometimes here. And it has been a while since we've been doing the news regularly, but there has been some recent stuff. The first is that the Tottenham Supporters Trust has condemned chants about poverty and joblessness aimed at Liverpool fans during the 1-1 draw at Anfield. Obviously, we'll talk about the soccer quite a bit later. But some of the Spurs fans were heard singing a song, or a chant rather, called Sign On, which is about unemployment levels. The Supporters Trust has said that the chant is not what we're about, adding we're Tottenham Hotspur, we're better than that. Poverty and joblessness are not fair game for banter. Especially given the current cost of living crisis in England. That seems like a pretty fucking stupid and awful thing to be doing. So I'm glad that the official Supporters Club Trust came out and said something against that. Anything to add here, gentlemen, being more boots on the ground over there with the whole housing crisis thing, not without getting overly political, obviously?
I mean, you don't even need to look at housing crisis, and this is a historic thing that people think is funny to say that people from the Liverpool area claim benefits and all that kind of thing. I have first-hand experience of the fact that people in poverty in this country is at record highs across the nation, even in areas where I live, down in the south, that are traditionally quite affluent. Food bank usage is through the roof. People's energy bills, no one knows what they're going to be able to do. Old people are getting on buses in order to keep warm because they get a free bus pass and they can't afford to put on their heating, and all of this kind of stuff, especially at the moment, for the sake of football footy banter. Get the fuck off and just have a fucking word with yourself. So at least the Supporters Trust will come out and do something about that, and that's just what we need to do to be better people. And so good on them.
Well said. We'll move on there then to the next story, continuing a theme here of people being bad and then other people reacting to that. An organization representing Scottish sports writers has apologized after an awards event speech prompted a walkout. The SFWA has said it apologized to anyone offended or upset by the speech. What a bullshit apology. It has also promised to review and approve the format of the annual dinner, which involves the presentation of awards, including Player and Manager of the Year. The controversy centered on jokes made in a speech by Bill Copeland, a lawyer who works on the after-dinner speaking circuit. The tweet in question about the person who brought attention to this: never felt so unwelcomed in the industry I work in than sitting at the Scottish Football Writers' Awards. A huge reminder that there is still so much to do in making our game an equal place. Apparently they were sexist, homophobic, and racist, so kind of hitting the trifecta there with the offensiveness.
Triple threat.
Yep. So shout out Bill Copeland, lawyer. Apparently not very funny. Maybe stick to law. I don't know. But I don't know. I particularly was annoyed by the bullshit apology. Sorry you got offended, which is
Classic. Yeah. Apparently, 5 minutes into a 20-minute speech, I don't know if he was allowed to continue, but Jesus. I mean, absolutely ridiculous.
A bunch of tables walked out in protest, pretty quickly, too. Which, for people to not just kind of sit there awkwardly, to, actually just be fuck this guy and walk out. What the fuck was he saying? I don't know. That's quite a strong reaction and deserved. So shout out those humans. I believe it was an awards with, Sir Alex was there, and that's why it got more attention than it otherwise would have, maybe.
Okay.
Am I mistaken on that? I don't know. I closed the tab.
Sure.
Don't make jokes. Don't make good jokes, and call your friends out when they make bad jokes.
Don't make good jokes.
Don't make bad jokes. Well, we don't make good jokes, but don't make bad jokes. And if you hear your friends saying bad things, call them out. Call them out. That's all I really have to say.
I don't make good jokes because of lack of ability, not because of...
We know.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
We know. Don't worry.
I've pressed record though, lads, so it's fine.
Sometimes. Not always. Right, Chuck?
And I'll put the jingles in the right place and everything.
Sometimes. All right, and our last story. Former footballers concerned about neurodegenerative diseases are being asked to come forward by the Professional Footballers Association. It is seeking more evidence of a link between heading and brain injuries and intends to improve support for players. Both diagnosed and undiagnosed ex-players will be surveyed as the PFA pushes for a care fund. It is also hoped that the brain injury chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, will be classified as an industrial disease. Any and all progress on heading and dementia and concussions and any sort of stuff like that is good progress, in my opinion. And we keep having this debate. We keep bringing in more info. Hopefully something actually comes. Here's a quote. After nearly 2 decades, they now need to recognize CTE as an industrial disease. The evidence is clear and it can't be ignored any longer. Do you think we should get rid of heading, Ian?
It is a tough one because I don't know what the evidence is like with footballs as they are at the minute. But I mean, obviously, back in the day, it clearly did damage, and a reclassification of it as an industrial thing would leave clubs open to being litigated against.
Ooh. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, because then if it becomes into a legal thing, then you wonder if it's because clubs can just say, well, don't do it. But then a high ball gets played in at a corner, and players will still go for it. Players do it now. They go for low headers when they know people's feet are going to be there and put themselves at risk just out of a competitive desire and want to do it. So it's whether then it will be easy for them to actually get any sort of litigation, like you said, against it. But I don't know. I can see a world where headers get gone.
The game changes massively all the time, doesn't it? But it's just that would be... I mean, I can't think of a more seismic change there's been in the game,
Yeah, certainly not in a very long time. I mean, penalty kicks, right, and red cards were pretty sweeping, but that was a long time ago now.
But even that doesn't change the fundamental way the game is played.
Substitutes being brought in, that was in the 60s.
I'm sorry,
the
what?
pass-back rule.
Did you just say they didn't have substitutes until the 60s?
1967.
Holy fuck. That's
so the 1966
insane.
World Cup, there were no substitutes.
I had no red cards, right?
There was no red cards. That was...
No wonder England
70...
won. That makes sense.
Something like that.
Go
anyway,
fucking run around a bit, but lads.
Yeah, then the pass-back rule, which was that was because of, was it Denmark and Germany or something? They both, and also the reason why they now play group games at the same time, the last ones, because they just kept...
Yep.
No, it was Denmark that kept having the ball passed back, and then, so that's the 90s, then the adaptations to the offside rule, but getting rid of heading the ball, which creates then an interesting thing of how do you, surely then there's a penalty for heading the ball?
Yeah, of course, it's like a handball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And anything above, let's say nipple height is out of bounds. So your shoulders, your arms, your head, anything above the nipples is just no. No, thank you.
Now they have obviously the unnatural. I'm just going to blow past nipples. The unnatural thing of how far away with sort of kicking the ball into someone's arm you can be before it's just no, you had sufficient. Will you see people blasting the ball at other people's faces and just be well, he didn't get his head out of the way quick enough there. He has made himself a bit bigger by not turtling into his own body.
Yeah, and I think that would be about 50% of Jordan Pickford's saves would now be, or are keepers still allowed, because they're allowed to play with their hands, right? So they can save it with their face too, makes sense.
Yeah, he'd still fumble corners uncontested.
And then shout at everyone else.
Just fucking hates doing his job, Jordan.
All right, shall we get to the soccer then?
There was football.
There was indeed. We kicked things off with Saturday, May 7, a glorious date, I might add, but not a glorious result for the first game of the morning. We had Chelsea 2, Wolves 2, Chelsea 2.5 to Wolves 2.1. I had to leave at 65 minutes or 70 minutes of this one. That's when I turned it off because I was going somewhere. And
he still thinks they won 2-0.
Didn't they? Lukaku scored. That's surely a good thing, right?
Once from open play.
I know. No, I don't know. Wolves tied with us. I have no takes on that. Do either of you have takes on this?
No takes at all. I mean, it's a bit disappointing, isn't it, that concentration couldn't be held to keep this awful Wolves team out. I'm going to try and bait you into some sort of reaction. I know it's not going to happen because you are entirely checked out.
I'm not checked out. I'm just reasonable, I think. There's a difference.
I understand. There's literally nothing for you to play for. Well, what? I mean, 99% on 538. Okay.
Yeah, Spurs are technically, I guess, within shooting distance, but, there's 2 games left.
Well, I suppose it's because it's 4th place anyway, but Arsenal and Tottenham play each other. So, Chelsea have to lose every game, and then whatever happens, I think then Tottenham and Arsenal would have to draw and then both win both of their games. Yeah, that makes numbers.
That's very specific, isn't it?
I mean, the Chelsea losing 3 is fairly realistic at this point. And I thought it's weird because with the benefit of time, I thought the distance from the FA Cup semi-final would be better. And then I keep seeing Chelsea every week and it makes me more angry because Chelsea are fucking shit at the moment. And it's just so... I don't know... Maybe it's to do with the contributing factors of the Abramovich stuff and players not being able to negotiate their contracts and people potentially then dropping off left, right and centre. There's been the thing now where Rudiger to Real Madrid is confirmed. It's pretty much nailed on, apparently.
Surprised he's not going to Bayern. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Farmers League, innit? I listened.
They all are.
And just kind of the disappointment of the Champions League, missing out, kind of being left behind completely by Man City and Liverpool within the league, that they don't have anything going for them at the minute, and it's really disjointed. You look at this game, 2-0 up, should be some good vibes, stay consistent. It's Wolves. We've joked about it all this season that they aren't a decent attacking team. They don't generate chances. They don't score goals. And Chelsea let them get a 1.6 XG, something like that against them, 1.7.
Yeah, 2.1. 2-2 was reasonable. I mean, Chelsea also had 3 goals VAR'd off by inches, really
but
close.
It was Werner, wasn't it? Probably.
Nah, one of them was Lukaku.
Okay. Well, but I mean, Wolves being the 4th lowest scoring team in the league, and just giving up those chances is ridiculous. Obviously, the loss to Everton is I don't know whether that was a Frank Lampard compensation deal or something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Aspie, his former teammate and boy, Aspie giving him 3 points
just
there.
Awful. I just wonder. Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to make excuses for the club. It was a deserved draw. The losses have been deserved losses. We are
This could have been a loss because I'm not even sure the penalty was deserved in any way.
How dare you, sir? It was given, therefore must be deserved inaccurate.
Yeah, the referee looked at it with his own 2 eyes.
Probably outside the box.
The referee looked at it with his own 2 eyes, and that's the only 2 eyes. Yeah. Jurgen Klopp told us that is it. Remember with the Jota one, guys, once 2 eyes have looked at it, that's it. So, he did kind of lay on the ground and kick him a couple of times. He just missed the ball.
I mean, our big match is Saturday, right? That's the only match really that there's anything on the line at this point.
And you're going to get battered.
No, we're going to win that. We're going to win that. Liverpool are going to leave the season with 0 fucking trophies.
They won the Carabao Cup.
It's going to be hilarious.
They won the Carabao Cup.
We can turn it on. We're really good if we turn it back on. We're a really fucking good team. I'm not saying we're as good as Liverpool.
Yeah,
They're a better team than us.
It's just problem is that you can't find the switch because someone's pulled the fuse boxes out and everyone's just going around the house in the dark. No one can find anything. And they've covered the door handles in Vaseline and you can't get out of the rooms. That's the problem.
One of those pranks. There's olive oil all over the floor.
Yeah, exactly. It just slip sliding everywhere.
The way Chuck's characterised this FA Cup final as some sort of Chelsea escape room.
Is Home Alone. Liverpool are going to Macaulay Culkin the shit out of it and just electrocute Timo Werner. When he tried, I don't know, it just went a bit too weird, didn't it? Liverpool are winning that by like 2-3 goals in regular time, easy.
Nah, they're still disbroken. They're just like,
and then they're going to win the Champions League.
No one's getting Benzema, man.
Although, yeah, Real Madrid knocking out Chelsea, then Man City, then Liverpool. That would be a bit like one in the eye for England from La Liga to say like, hey, we're still here. That would be...
And fully undeserved if not for a Benzema in all of those. Like, we were much better than Madrid. City were better than Madrid.
Karim Benzema is an absolute beast in every form of competition in everything this year. He has been absolutely immense and has carried that team, and Ancelotti has played perfectly into his hands in his pragmatic, I will do what is best for the players I have way. That meant, Ancelotti had this Everton team, guys. Remember that. This Everton team. And they were pushing for Europe.
Utterly bizarre,
pushing for Europe. Now they should be relegated, but they aren't because of Chelsea. Pricks.
Yep, that's our fault. 100%. Speaking of relegated, also at 10 o'clock, we had Crystal Palace 1, Watford 0. Crystal Palace 1.8 to Watford's 0.5.
Get the bloody beers in.
Crystal Palace, 5th best team in England, Crystal Palace. Chuck, any takes here? Did you masturbate all over yourself listening to us talk about how they're the 5th best team in England last week? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I totally listened to the pod last week. Masturbated all over that.
Oh, man, we spent like 5 minutes talking about how Palace are the 5th best team in England. They're better than United. They have great numbers.
Oh, so when I posted you those stats, you thought that was triggered by the pod. That was completely I do that to myself when we start winning a few games. I get far too carried away. Relegate Watford. Tick. Retire Roy Hodgson. Tick. Job done. Don't fuck about. It's been weird this season. It really has been.
Can we just Roy Hodgson CBE?
Is he CBE? When did that happen?
This week.
Oh, Freeman of the City of Croydon as well, whatever that fucking means.
It means he can take his cattle through and they can graze wherever they want.
Take all his cattle to Box Park and they too can throw their beers in the air when England score a goal.
On the AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, well enough to go and get his CBE, but not well enough to acknowledge the Watford fans after the game.
Yeah, because they're pricks.
He was too busy chumming it up with the Palace players. Isn't Twitter all on fire about that? He dared to smile talking to Zaha after the match, right?
He didn't give one solitary shit about Watford.
No, he doesn't care.
No fucks given at all.
I watched it on the highlights because it happened when I was at the wedding. I was watching the highlights, and when you can see something in real time, and just you have I haven't been on Twitter now for like 6 to 8 weeks. It's been bliss, and you just see something happening, and they just lost 1-0 and were relegated, and he was laughing, hugging James Tompkins, hugging and chatting to Patrick Vieira. I was like, Watford fans are going to be absolutely fucking livid, and I'm here for it because their club's an absolute joke. And they fired.
They know that.
They fired Cisco before I even got a chance to do a thong song joke. I've said this. I'm still not over it. And he had 7 points after 7 games. I think it was 2 wins and a draw, or 2 wins, 2 draws, 8. It's basically about a point a game. He got 7 games. Nah, nothing. You're out. See you later. They then had Ranieri. He did 13 games. Half as many points as that.
I forgot he was there.
Yeah, everyone did.
What a season it's been, man. Jeez.
Roy Hodgson's been their manager for the most games this season. He's been there 15 games. No one would guess that.
That's insane.
Oh. Well, they fucking deserve to go down. So
they
good
do,
riddance, I think.
And they have that interesting thing where there's quite a lot of players who will be stripped from that team, or should be stripped from that team at least. Players like Ismail Assar, Emmanuel Dennis, third guy who plays up front, Ian Cucho Hernandez. He's good. Hassan Kamara, even though he got sent off in this game for being a nutter, I think he's quite good. And so it's an interesting one of they'll just get picked apart and then hopefully they'll just disappear and we won't see him again. And Oscar doesn't have to worry about another W team.
Yeah, we're losing a W team, although we're gaining a B team and a BR team at that. Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton. There's too many BRs now.
Oh, okay, is that the new W?
Best Ham. We got Best Ham too in there. Jeez.
Right, okay, you did that for yourself. and whilst we also then speak about, and it's weird that I'm going full post-mortem into Watford. Never mind. But Ben Foster's post-match interview, which if you haven't seen, is amazing, and I have the quotes here.
Lovely.
You just don't really know what you're going to get from us, to be perfectly honest. The 39-year-old said, "We've got too many players who are happy to put it in for an hour, 70 minutes, but then probably fall off and happily let it go in the last 20 minutes. Oh, you can have that when you're a team, but when you're a team like us, the minimum is giving everything you've got. The ability you can forego a little bit and accept you might not have the quality of some players, but you've got to put the effort in. Never mind, mate. See you later. Put that on your YouTube channel."
Yeah, there's something about a player when they get to the twilight of their career, when they get into the post-match and they just do not give a shit.
Well, he was brilliant in that game. To be fair, I mean, what was the XG, Oscar?
1.8.
1.8. So put a penalty. Yeah, okay. Well, he was
That's
right.
decent.
Pulled off some pretty good saves. I think that there would have been some low XG goals in there, were it not for him, and he's probably acquitted himself quite well, considering he is pushing 40. I mean, Ian, you know what that's like. So,
thanks, mate.
If you can remember that far back. Watford gone. Can we relegate Everton next week?
No, doesn't look like Everton's going down. But in that relegation race, we'll go to one of the other 10 o'clock games. We have Burnley 1, Aston Villa 3. And Mr. Simpson, please cue the jingle.
Oh, they're better than they ought to be.
Burnley of the week.
Not super much of a Burnleying, but a Burnleying, and it has implications for the relegation race because this was 3-1, despite 1.7 to 1.8. Keeping Burnley in the relegation race decidedly, level with Leeds on 34. They are 40% compared to Leeds' 50%, increasingly looking like a two-horse race, that one. Gentlemen, I didn't watch that. Obviously, I was watching Chelsea, and he takes on Villa Burnley. Villa surprisingly good this year.
Up and down.
It's the inconsistency in periods for a lot of teams in that area, isn't it, Ian?
Yeah, exactly. I've quietly hoped that Gerrard would do quite well because I preferred his career path to Lampard's. But I've got to say, it's been up and down, and I do wonder whether he's not been saved sometimes by Coutinho. But then last few games, Coutinho, or last probably 2 months really, Coutinho's been fairly anonymous.
What? You're crazy. Coutinho's been so good.
Has he?
Yes.
The last few games?
I mean, I haven't seen the games, but his numbers have been crazy good.
Ian only looks at it from fantasy football, Oscar.
Oh, fair enough.
That's a fair shout, actually. I probably do purely look at it from a fantasy football point of view, and there's been no returns for weeks, so I'm not interested in him. He's rubbish. Send him back.
Yeah, there it is.
Send him back.
To Barcelona, you don't mean deport him, do you, Brexit FC?
Well, Barcelona is in Spain. Chuck, you know Barcelona's not in the UK, right?
Yeah, but there's there's moving for work and there's forceful eviction, Oscar. You know what I mean?
Enough. That's true.
Ian hasn't quite discovered that nuance yet, but I know I've been gone a few weeks, but I really just want to make it clear that although there are two Brits, right, one of us holds very different opinions to the other, okay? I'll leave that there.
And some of our American listeners did not realize there was two Brits for quite some time.
Oh, that's fine. I've listened to podcasts with American people where it takes me about 100 episodes to differentiate. Excuse me?
I've listened to multiple podcasts. Oh, I've got ears.
I don't think...
Is that a flex?
I was going to say...
I don't know.
Ian, are you bragging about having listened to a podcast?
80% of his conversations are about fish. It probably is.
Fair enough. Does Milo have a podcast?
I don't think I've brought them up for weeks, and yet I don't know what this is. Now, let me return to my original point, by which
Philippe Coutinho getting deported.
I do not think that all foreign players who don't score fantasy football points for me should get deported.
It'd just be nice if you said it sometimes.
I think there should be a hearing.
Jesus. Wow, it hasn't been the three of us in a while. I forgot how chaotic this is. It's delightful. Oh, delightful. Yeah, Gerrard's a better manager than Lampard. Sure, Coutinho's really good though, Ian. You're crazy.
I'm not saying he wasn't good. I'm just saying that I think in the same way that he must not be named with Man United, has got them out the shit a lot. I think Coutinho has got Gerrard out the shit a couple of times. And I think he's a brilliant player, but it doesn't look like he's going to stay at Villa. And I'm finding it hard to judge Gerrard as a manager when I thought he'd be quite good, or maybe I sort of secretly wanted him to be quite good and do things a bit better than Gerrard because I prefer his career path. Do things a bit better than Lampard, because I prefer his career path. So ultimately, I'm saying I don't know.
I mean, if you saw, but from the table from November the 11th, which is when he came in, so teams have played between 23 and 26 games, depending on the thing there, and so they're ninth since he's come in. You're sitting on about the same points as Wolves, West Ham, Brentford, Brighton. They kind of cover from the 30 to 34. Newcastle getting 38 points in that time and being 7th, which is only three less than Chelsea and Manchester United, which is interesting. There we go.
Next season's going to be interesting. It really is going to be interesting.
Yes, it is.
Mitro! We get Mitro back!
That's true.
We do.
That mid-season World Cup is going to fuck everything completely, though. I'm already mad about it being in the middle of the season.
Well, yeah, but it's, I'm going to be that guy now and say it's the same for everyone else, and it's just another layer of...
Is it, though? Because Burnley isn't going to have any fucking players at the World Cup. Burnley's just going to get a month
Burnley
off.
aren't going to be in the Premier League, so it don't matter.
Fine, whatever. Some other B team. See, I'm already confused. There's too many B teams.
But they still get the breaks. They still get the breaks. I looked at this once. It doesn't actually, in terms of structure, it just means that there's slightly more... Because they're taking out at least one of the international breaks that would happen before that time. It's just going to be league. So in terms of fixture congestion, it isn't that much of a change. And obviously, when you have international breaks for friendlies and qualifiers, these teams will be playing like at least 3 games probably in those times, because they usually have one friendly and 2 qualifiers or vice versa. Whereas, you then get to the World Cup and there's some teams that are only going to play 3 times in that entire period. So, I think it will probably balance out, but I do think it is just a bit weird that we are doing a Winter World Cup in a country that, has never qualified for a World Cup, where a lot of people have died building the stadiums, and, there might be some sort of, investigation to be done there as to why that happened. I don't know. Maybe the 30 people involved in it that have all been arrested on fraud allegations. I don't know. I'm just saying here, guys. Just all the corruption that's everywhere. Michel Platini. I don't know. Blatter. I don't know. Just these are just coming to me from the ether. I'm not really sure what is to be said there. But World Cup, yay! What game are we talking about?
We're going to move on.
Aston Villa Burnley.
Move on.
Aston Villa Burnley.
We're just moving on. I'm just going to bring this up to laugh at it. Man United lost 4-0 to Brighton. Man United are now the 8th best team by the underlying numbers in the table for over the course of the season, and have officially dropped into the negative expected goal difference per 90.
Hot dog!
They are very, very, very slightly negative 0.01 ahead of Brentford and Villa on negative 0.02 and negative 0.03.
I mean, I suppose the only positive from the result, the Wolves-Chelsea result, in a weird way, is that Wolves can still, and West Ham can now still make sure that Man United finish 8th. Like, it is possible.
Good. Come on, W teams! Let's go!
Complete about term. Let's go for dubs. West Ham are 3 points behind them with a game in hand. And
West Ham are the best ham, yay!
Wolves are 8 points behind them with 2 games in hand. So
Wolves are the Wolves. No, it doesn't work as well.
Wolves.
Never. But let's go on to the big one, the fucking actually big one that everyone is like, you're 45 minutes into this podcast, you still haven't talked about this. What's wrong with you? We had
Brentford, Southampton.
Oh, yes. No. Yeah, I'm not talking
the
about
red and white
I
derby.
literally didn't notice it. Liverpool 1, Tottenham 1. Liverpool 1.2 to Tottenham 1.1. So exactly a 1-1 on the underlying. Fucking phenomenal performance by Antonio Conte's Spurs, who, by the eye test, I think probably deserved the win. The numbers indicate 1-1 was pretty much exactly spot on. Wow. They shut down Liverpool. They did a really good job. Wow. It's almost like Antonio Conte is a really good manager. I don't know.
We know one guy who did not care for the performance.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What is he? He's just...
Chuck, we haven't seen this Klopp for a while.
Yeah, that's true. Because he's been doing
You'll see him again on Saturday.
Yeah, you will. When things start going a bit against him, it'll get a bit spiky. Liverpool have only generated less XG than this in 2 games this year, and both of those were against City. This is therefore their third worst performance, I guess. Their fourth worst performance was against Tottenham in the other fixture. Like, it's just, if you find a way to nullify it, like, I get what Klopp's saying in some ways, because he's like, I don't coach that type of football. I play my way. And that's fine, mate. You can absolutely play that way. But then Conte can then be pragmatic with it and say, well, okay, I'm not going to just go at you in the same way, because, you know, if we get into a slog match, you'll probably come out on top. So I'm going to adapt my style, and as Klopp said in the first fixture, send it long and put Kane and Son on their bikes, which just wasn't the case at all. They were working really well, counter-pressing. They still had a pretty decent chunk of the possession, and I think it's big sour grapes against a Tottenham team that, albeit they've had a few ropey fixtures fairly recently, are really fun and really exciting to watch. And yeah, just suck it, mate. Just deal with it.
Absolutely fucking delightful to hear him crying after the match. Absolutely fucking delightful. I cannot think of a better birthday present than this fucking result. Seeing both Liverpool and Spurs drop points to fall almost entirely out of the 2 races that they were in. What a fucking delight. I don't even care about the Chelsea result. I care about Liverpool 14%. Ooh, that's nice. Nom, 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 nom. And Tottenham 24%. Presumably Arsenal being less than City is because they play Tottenham still, so they're more likely to drop points than City, who are not going to drop any points. But yeah, take either of those races. I don't know. I'm just happy they both suck. Those are the 2 teams I hate the most. So
what if Arsenal finish above Chelsea?
I'm fine. We got top 4. I mean, I'll be annoyed. We've been clearly better than them all season. We just fuck it up at the end. Like, that would be stupid. But, like, it's fine. We got top 4.
Yeah. I mean, it would just be funny if you came 4th in a 3-horse race.
That is true. Yeah.
4th in a 3-horse race.
Well, Tottenham did it. Tottenham did it, didn't they? The year Leicester won the league, it was a 2-horse race and they finished 3rd.
Yeah, they somehow managed it. Yeah.
Below Arsenal, again, they're just always there, lurking. Weird. What game are we talking about? Liverpool-Tottenham, yeah. Happy birthday, Oscar, for the day that was. But no, I think it's pretty good indication of where Spurs are. The fact that one of the first things you can say there is legitimately that Spurs could have done more and could have won that game. And it's, you know, even the Liverpool goal was quite a big deflection, wasn't it, from Luis Diaz? So that's not to say that they aren't a quality outfit and they probably had other chances that they completely missed that they deserved. But that's a big statement of turnaround of this team that was absolutely awful to watch and was still relying on Dele Alli and stuff who were just kind of over. Jeff will probably get angry about that. I don't know. I just say it to trigger him sometimes. But Spurs, I think, are going to be really interesting for next year because obviously they've got Kulusevski and Romero. They're still currently on loan, as far as I'm aware. They've still got Ndombele, Lo Celso, Brian Hill, who are all relatively recent signings that are all out on loan and to come back. And so I think they're an interesting proposition for what happens, like you said, Oscar, as an Antonio Conte team, because he hasn't had a summer with them yet. He's only had a January transfer window, during which he made some massive impactful signings. And so if they get a few more of his type of player and they get a full summer together, that's going to be really interesting for Tottenham and them going forward. And
I believe, I could be mistaken, but I believe that Antonio Conte has never not won the title in his second season.
Well, he's not winning
in all leagues. I'm not saying he's going to win the title. Don't get me wrong. No, not at all. But that does bode well for Spurs, who have already been, by the underlying numbers, the 4th best team in England this year. Like, they're better than Arsenal over the course of the season by expected goal difference. Like, not by a lot.
And since Conte came in, have they been better than Chelsea?
Oh, I don't have those stats. Do you know what date he took over?
I think it was November at some point, but
2nd of November.
Pretty much level. Arsenal have been better over that time period. Ugh, Chelsea have been 4th. I
mean, yeah, it's fairly even though between those 3, isn't it? That, you know, Arsenal. I mean, you look at expected on that time. It's 46.7, 47.4, and 48. with 42, 47, 49 points. It's fairly clean.
You'd have
between
never
them.
have said that at the start of the season, would you?
No.
You'd have never said, Chelsea were going to be title challengers this season, and it's not. We know it's not gone that way, but I think the drop off is not just an on the beach drop off for Chelsea.
No. I mean, over the course of the whole season, you have Chilwell and James more than anything are like the two notable long-term injuries that fucked our season
in such important positions as well.
Yeah, I mean, show me Liverpool without Andy Robertson and the right back Trent over the course of an entire season.
And Tottenham struggling did coincide with often Reguilon having problems. In that similar position. So, yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
We saw Liverpool with those kind of injuries last year, and they were 17 points off Man City and behind Man United in third. We saw that Liverpool, so I think you're exactly right. You take away injuries to players in key positions for Chelsea, who under Tuchel had just developed that style of the wing-backs and effectively playing the balls across to each other or having the other one attacking the back of the box whilst the other one is also striking forward, that's then a key disruptor as well in a season of other things.
Actually, that is, speaking of Chelsea, just to bring them back up, apparently Alonso stormed off at halftime and got into it with Tuchel and now might not play at all for the rest of the season. So who the fuck are we running out at left back in the FA Cup final?
I'll have a go.
Saul, here we go.
No, put Aspie out there, I guess. But,
oh, maybe, yeah.
Or Pulisic. Just go nuts.
Jeez, yeah.
Bad times for Liverpool also. In this one, we've kind of covered a lot of the Spurs of it. Why don't we talk a little bit about Liverpool and their failed title run, the race that was never on, that was on, that was not on.
Declaring it. Well, it was on. That's nonsense. I had to take so much shit from you for saying when it was like 70% Man City back many matches ago, or I don't know how high it got exactly before it closed again, and. But it did close, Now, admittedly, this looks a bit rougher because Spurs, I think, was always the game that Liverpool fans were worried about, with good reason, because Conte's a very, very good manager. I don't think there's anyone better than him underneath the Klopp and Pep thing. I think he's definitely the third best manager in the league, and maybe better. I don't know. But
no, but whatever.
You're saying
Tuchel.
No to mate.
Tuchel's made every cup final in a year, and we won the Champions League 6 months after he took over. We had the best defense in the world.
And since Conte's come in, Tottenham have been
15 clean sheets for Chelsea in the last 39 games.
All right,
3 of them were against Palace.
Carry on.
So it's weird for a guy who likes numbers so much. He doesn't.
I don't concede the point, but we don't need to get into this argument.
That's why the stats community has ostracised him, because he picks and chooses.
That is not even a little bit true. For the record, we have been above them on underlying numbers in that time frame. So fuck you guys. I'm not talking about actualized results. I'm talking about performances, aka underlying numbers. Mm-hmm. Thank you. But let's move on. Sorry, Antonio Conte is one of the best managers after
like
Pep
when
and
you
Klopp.
Stroke a cat backwards. That's what I
fucking
feel
hate
like
it.
I've done there.
Fucking hate it. It is still the new normal that is becoming about at the top of the Premier League table. That kind of it's almost on a par with Lionel Messi. That Messi has a season where he scores the 35 league goals, for example, and no one bats an eyelid because that's just what he does now. Liverpool are probably going to win their remaining 3 games. Let's say they'll finish on 92 points. That's still
nuts.
There's 4 or 5 six teams that have done that as Premier League winners. 5 of them have probably been in the last 5 years, one of which was Liverpool. It's this bizarre new normal where to have to get 100, 99, 98 points that we haven't seen since Chelsea in 2004, 2005, and when you won under Conte as well, that was still a 93, 94, and then you go back to Man United with 91, Chelsea won with plus 90 again. These are epic title-winning numbers in 17 Premier League seasons, and it's just so bizarre that we see this, and it is such an exciting and fun brand of football, and they are regenerating that team and bringing in new players all the time and around it that Klopp is doing quite well. You know, Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Konate, to name a few. Trent Alexander-Arnold is still, 23?
He's very
24?
young. Yeah.
It's
nuts.
Robertson's like 2 years older than that. It's obscene to think of how we think of those two players, for example. And in a similar way, you know, as like Oscar said about Chilwell and James, like they've just still got so far to go that it's going to be interesting now if they, you know, Liverpool clearly need to do kind of something in the centre of the park, whether they lose one of Mane, Salah, both, who knows what's going to happen there. But, you know, that's going to be interesting as they refresh themselves because, well, Man City have said today that a couple of hours before we started recording that Erling Haaland is done, had his medical, and they've in this weird backwards transfer they've done things. They haven't agreed the fee yet, but it's all going to be announced this week.
67 million fee. And like De Bruyne wages, so like 375,000 a week.
Apparently, haven't had to break their wage structure for it either, which is
but I mean they're putting them on. That's because their wage structure is 375,000 a week.
That it is, yeah.
What structure
would wipe out national debt?
Here's a hot take for you gentlemen to react to. I think this is actually the best Liverpool team of the Klopp era. It's the most complete. I think that. Having Jota and Diaz in there to kind of bolster what Firmino does and have different options. I think Trent is a little more developed than he ever had been in the earlier years just by nature of age and his curve. I think Van Dijk is playing at his most Van Dijky. The central midfield is their weakness compared to other leagues, but other seasons rather. But I would say that this, like, if you put this Liverpool team against all those other Liverpool teams, this is the one that would win, I think.
Would you say that the centre midfield point is more that it's become the weakness because the rest has become stronger as opposed to
I would say that's fair.
necessarily?
Yeah, I'm not trying to say they have a bad centre midfield. It just isn't to the like best in the world level that they are everywhere else. Yeah,
because you've got players like Fabinho's been fantastic in that role. Henderson obviously serves his purpose, and Milner comes in left, right, and centre everywhere. But you've actually seen, even though they still get injury issues, players like Thiago and Naby Keita actually getting time in that team, and you're seeing what they're doing and popping up with those key moments, and Keita especially scoring some wonderful goals that. When you have those isolated individual moments of brilliance that can supplement the times when things aren't necessarily going right, when you are used to just steamrolling teams and that kind of thing, that really adds to it. But I'd agree that I think centre midfield is probably somewhere that they need to look at for next season and see what they're going to kind of do because they need to improve there because it's the easiest fix.
This is the best by underlying numbers also. Their expected goal difference per 90 compared to all the other seasons, including their title-winning season, has never been this strong.
I mean, they've been blowing teams away in individual fixtures. That's kind of why.
Yeah. Well, it's the expectation, though. Like, it's not just the regular goal difference, the expected goal difference. So, like, they are creating those chances, too. It's not like luck of the draw or anything. Significantly better than the one that won the title, actually. Wow.
They could both feasibly finish with over 100 goals scored. They're only 11 and 13 off with 3 games left. Like, that's
and they're scoring 4 or 5 at a time these days.
Yeah. Scary, man. We're the Farmers League.
Liverpool and Man City, if you take cumulative points over like the last 3 seasons, there's only like 3 points between them. It's absolutely insane, the levels we're talking about. And Man City managed to bounce back from a disappointing Champions League exit with an emphatic win that puts them massively in the driving seat now. You know, it's
just the 5-0.
The levels are just crazy.
Just the 5 to remind everyone who the real oil team is in the league.
For now, yeah. I mean, I don't feel like we need to cover that when we mentioned it, but I'll throw out the scoreline. Manchester City 5, Newcastle United 0, 3.1 to 0.9 on XG. So addicting as you expect these days from City, who continue to just be the best team in the world. At no point in that time has Liverpool been better than them, for the record. Liverpool has been the second best team in the history of ever. I don't think they've ever been better than City, including the year when they won the title. Their numbers were significantly worse, other than the points number, which is the one I guess that matters at the end of the year.
Well, for some people, yeah.
For some people. Not for this people. But
not for that people.
So, City, the title. Done?
City, the title. Who have City got left to play? West Ham probably win. Then they've got Wolves. Shit, I missed Wolves. Wolves, West Ham.
Getting those W teams confused. Look at you.
Yeah, well, it's easily done, isn't it? Liverpool also obviously have Aston Villa, so Gerrard's going to throw that one, and literally he's going to be running on the pitch and slide tackling players himself against City in game week 38 if he can do anything to actually win Liverpool that title.
And he slips and scores an own goal.
Yeah, that would be so... that would be peak Stevie G. But yeah, it's Villa, Southampton, Wolves for Liverpool, and Wolves, West Ham and Villa for City. So very similar fixtures. Could easily run out some mega score lines. Speaking of mega score lines and 5-0s, Peterborough, Posh Island. 5-0 win on the last day of the season. Are you taking the piss? Are you taking the absolute piss, mate?
We beat Blackpool 5-0 when it means nothing.
That's a West Brom Man United last day of the season shenanigans.
Isn't it just? Fuck me. Unbelievable. Yeah, great way to... great swan song for Championship football.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Actually, very quickly, we should probably mention the seasons, apart from the playoffs, have obviously finished in the other in the lower leagues.
Bournemouth is coming up back.
Yeah,
Bournemouth back. Fulham are back. Classic.
Nottingham Forest have got Sheffield United in the semi-final of the playoff. MK Dons have already lost their semi-final, which means they've had about 5-6 semi-finals in the last 10 years and lost all of them.
We're losing Oscar. Oh,
no. I hate MK Dons. This one I know. I'm supposed to hate them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm happy.
Oscar must enjoy the Bristol Rovers story, though.
Massively. It was my favourite story of the week. Clearly, obviously, I know what you're talking about.
You will enjoy it, is what I'm saying. So they went into the last game needing a 5-goal swing to get promoted, and Northampton went 2 goals up, so it was they needed a 7-goal swing. They won 7-0 and went up.
No fucking way. That's actually really cool.
Yeah, and Northampton
Investigate!
Scunthorpe, who were already relegated, were basically playing 17-year-olds. So Northampton have probably got a fair shout of going, "What the fuck are you doing?" Because that is not on. But Northampton are now in the playoffs. We were Peterborough's old rivals, so I'm very happy about that. Bristol Rovers went up. So when the 7th goal went in, pitch invasions, the referee threatened to abandon the game. So you had Joey Barton, who's their fucking manager, and the owner of Bristol Rovers getting on the mic going, "Go back to your seats, they're going to abandon the game, this is all, we're going to lose it." So all the fans had to go back, to their seats because the referee was genuinely. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Martin. Sorry. The referee was threatening to just call it off.
Now, are those appropriately enthusiastic or overly enthusiastic? We know how you feel about walks of any kind of celebrations, really, of any
kind. If that had been Peterborough, I would have struggled not to have run onto the pitch for a 7th goal. But then,
but you'd struggle to run.
Well, exactly. I wouldn't even get there. There'd be some overweight steward who'd just managed to stop me just by putting his hand out. But then if Joey Barton was threatening to stub a cigar out in my eye, I'd probably just pop back to my seat, I reckon.
Yeah, probably.
I just dream of the day when Northampton, Southampton and West Ham are all in the same league. And then we need an East team. Is there an East team?
East
Hampton? East Ham?
I can only think of East Fife, and that's in Scotland.
That's the only one I can think of, yeah.
Wow, all right. Well, we need to start an East Ham.
That's a train station. West Dulwich? I don't know. We blew past Championship playoffs as well, so we've got Huddersfield and Luton as well. So we don't want Huddersfield, we don't want Sheffield United, we do want Nottingham Forest. Mark, Daffin.
Don't we like Sheffield United? No, they're the bad Sheffield.
Well, it's just that they've been... I want a different team. If we're getting Fulham and Bournemouth back again, and then next season we'll inevitably get Watford and West Brom or fucking something.
I can't have a league that's half W's and B's.
Exactly,
I can't.
Exactly.
I'm just going to have to quit.
Exactly. So you want Forest or Luton, don't you?
Yes,
clearly?
I do. Well, I know Forest is one of our friends too. So I don't know who. Someone I know likes Forest.
Mark
one of our
Daffin.
Patreons. Yeah, there you go, Mark. That I know that I'm supposed to care about Forest is like such a plus to begin with. Okay, so
I'm sure he takes it as a massive win.
There you go.
Yeah, in a way.
Anyway, I derailed the Man City Newcastle chat. Newcastle had 0 possession probably.
Yeah, I don't think we need to talk about this other than to be like City title winners. Yay.
Newcastle had gilt-edged chances very early on and didn't succeed with them. They could have been. I think they could have had 2 before City scored the first, but
that would have been an interesting narrative, wouldn't it?
That sure would have been an interesting game.
Yeah,
too.
when it finished 5-2, it would have
sure.
would have made a distant difference.
Newcastle have a real problem because they've done very well, as you've mentioned, on underlying and in real life since Eddie Howe's come in, but they've got a real problem against the Big Six. I think they've got 1 point off of the Big Six since he came in, or something ridiculous like that.
It's like those games are like they're the cherry on top if you win. They
are, but I mean, if they've got aspirations, they've got to figure it out.
Yeah, they have aspirations. It's going to take more than half a season to get to those aspirations, man.
Yeah.
Like it'd be like 5 years,
and it's going to take
more
more than Eddie Howe as your manager for those fucking aspirations. But like
100%.
you look at Arsenal, and we joked about them about how they they weren't beating the top 3 teams, but then they were 4th, so like it doesn't matter. So like if you don't beat the top 6 teams, but you beat everyone else, then you're 7th. And so for Newcastle to then consistently finish 7th, that's kind of a big thing. And I think part of what we were saying earlier about next season being really interesting, and I forgot about until I was watching something the other day, is that with this summer coming in and teams looking to strengthen, and you've got people like Newcastle that are obviously going to have a load of money. Tottenham are probably going to spend some. Aston Villa seemingly just have infinite funds that appear all of a sudden. Championships teams coming up. But we have the five sub rule coming. So, like, that's going to be really interesting to see how that affects teams with tactics, because you can change half your outfield. You can completely change systems and all that kind of thing and preserve players in different ways. So, will it then become... Because I think there's a lot of teams that they can have like a strong 11, let's say, and then there's a bit of a drop-off for subs. Some that at the minute can do their subs and not suffer a drop-off in level. I'd say obviously at the very top you've got your Man Cities, your Liverpools, Chelsea to an extent at that seeming level. And then at the kind of the mid-table level, teams like Aston Villa have built really big squads that there isn't too much of a drop-off, if they play Watkins or if they play Ings, for example, or if they play Coutinho or Buendia, there's a real high level of quality there of just how that's then going to be interesting as another factor next year as to whether we see teams buying a higher volume of players as well to improve squad depth and play.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting next season. And you're also, what Oscar said is right about it is going to take time with Newcastle. I mean, we know there's jiggery-pokery ways around this. But
jiggery-pokery.
I knew it like that. But with financial fair play as it stands and Newcastle's revenue and turnover as it stands, they are only in a place at the minute where they can spend 70, 80 million quid a year.
Yeah, but then they haven't announced their new stadium sponsor, the Stadium Investment Fund.
Yes, exactly.
Well, no, the problem is City have already closed that door, so, they'll need to find another way.
There's plenty of jiggery-pokery that can be done.
This is a fact.
That was lovely. That sounded lovely coming out of your mouth.
There it is. I guess we should... Sorry, Ian, I feel like I cut you off just to laugh at jiggery-pokery. You were making a larger point there.
No. My point was just that you are right that Newcastle aren't necessarily going to be able to do it incredibly quickly, so maybe I'm being harsh on them with they've got to take points off the bigger teams before they're going to get anywhere, but...
Yeah, they're in the Craig Bellamy phase of Man City, not in the Sergio Aguero phase of Man City.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, they're still managed by Mark Hughes.
Yeah, exactly. But I do love to be told that I was right, so keep that up.
Mark Hughes is at Bradford, I believe.
Arsenal 2, Leeds 1. Arsenal 2.9 to Leeds 0.5. I told you it was chaotic with all three of us. I don't have practice rating us in. Arsenal
Leeds.
top 4? Yes?
Question mark? Tricky. I mean, they're in the same position as like Liverpool City when that game happened, There's 4 points. Can they bring it back to 1 point? And then, you've just got to shoot out to the end of the season.
There's not been a away winner of the North London Derby in 8 years.
Ooh.
Tottenham are the better team.
So
narrative.
It's, it could all be split wide open again.
Tottenham then have Burnley and Norwich, but Arsenal have Newcastle, then Everton.
That's pretty easy too. And Everton, now that they're only down to like 10% or whatever, are not like going to be tuned out, but the pressure is less.
It could all be done by then, couldn't it? The relegation thing.
Leeds went full Harry Carey in this game and just
what's his name?
Luke Ayling decided to try and 2-foot Martinelli by the corner flag.
Captain Luke Ayling.
3 feet if he had him, he would have used.
Fucking would have.
Like
absolutely insane. Lost his senses.
Completely. Knew what had happened. Knew he got booked and then knew it was going to change. Rafinha deciding to constantly argue to the point where he's nearly getting a second yellow card straight away there as well from the same instant. Like, utter madness where half the team had to like pull him away from the referee because he's just screaming at him while he's doing his VAR thing.
They could see what was coming. Yeah, Jesus Christ, that was insane.
Yeah.
I don't know what Marsh would have said to him after that, because that was entirely of their own making.
100%.
That was evident as in that Arsenal were fucking hanging on towards the end of this game, which is utterly bizarre when you're talking about a Leeds team where they are with 10 men for the vast majority of the game, and somehow Arsenal managed to make a massive fucking meal out of it. That's a worry going into the North London derby, but
that said, they did hold on, right? Like they may have made a meal of it, but like they didn't do full Arsenal by losing it.
True, that is true. Maybe other seasons they would have, but yeah, Leeds screwing the pooch here, it seems like. I mean, fucking hell.
They were getting the results they needed against the teams that they could get results against. You know, the last 2 games losing against City and Arsenal, but they lost. You know, we've said all season they've been ruined by injuries, and now Dallas is injured and out for the season. Luke Ayling does that. He's going to miss probably the whole season now, I guess. It's 3 games.
And I can't remember, it was something else I was listening to. He said, you know, he might not play in the Premier League again now.
Look at this, Chuck, bragging about listening to stuff again. We got to rein him in. It's out of control.
I've got ears and they work.
Oh, I listen to things. Oh.
Maybe if you guys listen to some podcasts, you might realise what was fucking listenable.
Oh, wow.
Says you, Mr. fucking shit jingles.
Mr. Slides the track wrong. Oh, man, I miss this. We're so dumb, but I miss this so much. Like, it's so good having the 3 of us on.
Well, this is it.
Everton won.
Yeah.
Also, that is another thing that happened.
Yeah, Leicester can fuck off, man. Leicester had their day in the sun. I'm full Oscar. I'm full team Oscar now. I tried to...
Yes!
Oh, he's got over.
They got a title. They got an FA Cup. Now fuck off.
It was being fair at the time. Like, they were doing well. They were overperforming and blah. Yes, they shouldn't have been there. Now they can just kind of... Kasper Schmeichel can carry on screaming at everyone for everything. You know, we take the piss out of Jordan Pickford. He screams. He screams when he makes a save. Kasper Schmeichel screams when he doesn't make a save and concedes a goal. That's just what happens. Weird. That'll be an interesting season for them next year because obviously they just got knocked out of the Conference League by Roma. Jose Mourinho's Roma have to use their full title.
And
West Ham.
Tammy Abraham.
Tammy Abraham, yeah. He's having a bloody lovely time out there.
He needs to come home.
He will not.
No, he won't.
Yeah.
West Ham pushing for a similar kind of thing at the moment of getting into Europa League. They were knocked out by Frankfurt. And so some fairly decent late tournament showings from all of the English teams across all of those. But yeah, it just feels like Leicester is... Yeah, and they have clappers. They have clappers. And there was something they did when they were horrible to a load of people and they weren't like a family club. And I can't remember what it is now. And I've went right off them. Right off them.
I mean, for all the everything of everything, Leicester have 1 more win than Everton this season.
That's bizarre.
They're 11 wins on the season. Everton are on 10 wins on the season. Like, it's not
Palace
good.
are also on 10 wins, so, you know.
Well, you know, we don't talk about, we pick and choose the numbers, Chuck. We just said
as
this.
many as 14 draws. As many as 14.
But the vibes are better. Leicester got booed off at full time. Wow. There's players going out of contract that might really change the face of their team.
Vardy's gone teetotal.
Vardy.
He stopped drinking Skittles vodka and WKD between every match.
You know, Wagatha Christie's going up in court this week. There's a lot going on. And I think Leicester might go the bad way. I'm not too confident about Leicester next season.
It makes sense if we're saying teams like Villa, Newcastle, Southampton need to sort themselves out. Fucking hell, they'll be
They
in
really
danger
do.
next
Yeah,
season. If you look at Wolves, you look at Brighton, you look at West Ham, Palace, like they're all on bigger upward trajectories. I mean, even Brentford this season, we didn't really mention the game, but it's phenomenal. They're on 43 points, and a lot of us didn't think they'd be doing that well. Thought maybe, it could still be a Sheffield United thing. They have one good season, and who knows?
Or a Leeds thing, yeah.
There's talk of Christian Eriksen going to Spurs. Because obviously he's been to Spurs before, and he says one of his best playing times as well was under Conte at Inter. So you never that could affect him a bit, but that's huge. And there's, a lot of the teams at the bottom need to up their games. Burnley managed by Michael Jackson now. What happened there? Didn't think he was around. Sean Dyche, I keep forgetting it's not Sean Dyche's Burnley anymore. So I just don't know what to think, but. Yeah, we're probably going to lose Leeds, aren't we?
I mean, they would deserve to go down. They're the third worst team by underlying. This might be the first time XG goes 3 for 3 in a while, actually. On the relegation, because it's Norwich, Watford, and Leeds. That would be delightful.
And would it be the top as well? Same?
By XG, it would be City, Liverpool, Chelsea, then Spurs. So Spurs would have to finish above Arsenal for the top 4 to be XG.
Not unbelievable. That would be
it's
quite
possible.
A big
it's
win
in play.
For stats. But how do you feel? Because obviously your feelings about Burnley getting relegated have been they've been put out there. They're in the public domain. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
If it's now not Sean Dyche's Burnley and they play differently, does your opinion change?
No, I still want them gone, but I'll take Leeds. I'll take the clean sweep for XG over Burnley if we can get Burnley going down next season. That's a bargain I'm willing to make with the universe.
Right, okay. Because that's the problem, that Leeds actually were fun for a while and trying.
That is true.
Then they went too far and just fucking two-footed Martin. What a dickhead.
I don't know. 3 for 3 on the XG though would be pretty nice.
Yeah. Leeds 50%, Burnley 40%, Everton 10%. So,
and that's fair because that is exactly how they've been in the underlying numbers. That's also probably part of why the numbers say that. But Burnley Wolves have been worse than Burnley, for example.
Wolves are shit.
Yes. Okay. Leicester have been worse than Everton,
not the animal.
For example. Leicester are worse than Everton by the underlying numbers. The bottom of the table gets weird after 18th.
We're still in the middle of a game week. There were other games. There are more games tomorrow. Villa, Liverpool, Leeds, Chelsea, Leicester, Norwich, Watford, Everton, Wolves, City, Spurs, Arsenal. That's on Thursday, and then FA Cup finals on Saturday. I think in the middle of the season. That's weird. We haven't had that as far as I can remember. And then obviously big old bumper fixtures. Game week 37. It's been a pleasure recording again, but it's been a while since it's all three of us. And I think Ian's finger was hovering over the leaving button. But gentlemen, should we quiz?
Oh, what?
Yeah! I love a quiz. Quiz,
we'll do the quiz.
Yeah.
Because we need the joy. Need it back. Can't remember the scores. What was it?
I'm down by 2. I'm down by 2. I don't know what the numbers were, but I'm down by 2. So I need at least 2 more of these, Chuck, please.
I have 10-8. All quizzes from now on will be worth 5 points.
Good. Fair.
So this quiz, you'll need to write down. It is 10 questions. Play along at home, guys. Play along at home. And it's kind of born from a offhand conversation I had on holiday with patron Alex Sampson about the bad descriptions with the club crests.
That was hilarious.
Oh, that's good.
And a conversation Gina and I were having today whilst we were looking at various sports. And so we kind of between us came up with, well, I say there were 3-word descriptions. One of them's 5. 3-word descriptions that are bad for various sports. Now, they could be sports in their own right. They could be, for example, Olympic events. Or they could be, I Googled funny sports and did what come up.
Are any of them fictional sports?
Quidditch is not involved.
Okay. Well, Muggle Quidditch is a real sport, but anyway.
Just fuck off.
I played at the World Cup. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's fine. It's basically rugby with dodgeball at the same time. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, and your mum gave you a cuddle and said you were a special little boy afterwards. Right, so as long as you've got a paper and pen, here we go. So, three-word descriptions of sports, apart from the one that isn't. Question 1. Rugby, but foreign.
But is counted as a word. Brilliant, yeah.
I mean, we can check a dictionary if you want, Ian.
No. It is confirmed.
Did you think it was going to be like passionate management phrases?
Yeah.
Did you think it was going to be that? Passion, aggression,
yeah, that's exactly what
temperature.
Oh, I know that one. That's soccer.
Correct. Number 2, question 2 or B, depending on the labelling system. Funny little tennis. Funny little tennis. What are they playing there? It just looks like funny little tennis. Number 3, tall, sexy men.
I'm gonna
Tall,
go with
sexy
that.
men. Number 4, human hamster ball.
Human hamster ball.
Human hamster ball.
This is a sport.
Well, I like I said, I might have Googled
He did caveat that.
weird
Fair
things. There
enough.
might be
Fair enough.
Olympic events. There might be. I mean, the beginning is a lot more coherent than the end, shall we say?
I'm sort of hoping some of them might be things you do on a stag do. But anyway, go on.
Anyway, number 5. This is the one that isn't 3 words. Men get out of housework.
What?
Not cryptic. Men get out of housework, or men getting out of housework. Number 6. Pub game, innit?
Oh.
Pub game, innit? Number 7. Big stick thing. Big stick thing. Number 8. A lot of these descriptions will just make sense afterwards. Number 8. Mrs. Trunken Ball.
Mrs. what?
Mrs. Trunken Ball.
Trunken ball?
I took Trunken Ball as 2 words.
What is trunken?
Exactly. Mrs. Trunken Ball.
Okay.
Might be done for comedic effect. 8 is one that you'll either get or you won't. That's the quiz. Number 9. Isn't that Canadian? Number 9. Isn't that Canadian?
I think I'm doing okay on this, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to go 0 for 10 watch.
Correct. And number 10. That Jamaican film.
All right. I got at least one, I hope.
I've got a few blanks, but anyway, yeah, let's go.
Okie dokie. Right. Tick them off as you go. Rugby but foreign is, of course, American football.
Damn it.
Oh.
I went for Aussie rules.
I nearly went hand egg, but I thought, no, I'm not slipping you that easy one in.
I wrote N for NFL and then I crossed it out for Aussie rules. So annoyed.
I
never
put
mind.
Gaelic football, but because of my handwriting, I read it garlic football, and I didn't remember what that was.
There we go.
I'd love to eat some garlic football.
Kicking a bulb. Funny little tennis. I've seen Oscar's answers already. Badminton. It is badminton. Funny little tennis.
Yay, I had ping pong and then I crossed it out.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I'd get you. Yeah. Tall, sexy men is basketball.
I said basketball, then swimming, then back to basketball.
Oscar, I believe you. It's fine.
I got beach volleyball.
Not a bad pick. Those guys are very sexy. And those bathing suits are very small. That's why I was thinking swimming also. I was like, oh yeah, those swimming boys.
Gun. Human hamster ball is zorbing. Zorbing.
Yeah, zorbing.
Oh, I said unicycle riding.
Yeah, exactly like a hamster. Well done.
I couldn't think of anything. It was the only thing I thought of with like one wheel. I don't know. Don't worry about it.
Number 5, men get out of housework is extreme ironing.
No, is that a thing? I mean, I guess it
Yeah,
is.
it is a thing, yeah.
Look it
I
up.
said
They
golf.
iron like on cliffs and in, I don't know, men getting out of housework.
Yeah. What'd you say on this one, Ian? I'm curious.
I had a blank on that one, and there's a couple more I've got blanks
I went
on.
with golf, but ironing makes more sense.
That's good, actually, yeah.
Pub game, innit? Darts.
Darts.
Oh,
Darts.
fucking hell, I had snooker.
Oh, never mind. Big stick thing. Cricket. Obviously.
Oh.
Cricket.
I said billiards, and I was on the fence about saying lacrosse, but I don't know if that's a thing in Europe, really.
It's a thing.
Pole vault.
Pole vault.
That's a good one.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Now, Mrs. Trunkenball. Now, the reference that they were going for is Miss Trunchbull, because in the film Matilda, she picks up a child and spins her around like the hammer throw.
Oh my goodness. That's next level cluing.
Ian, did you say anything here? Did you take a guess?
No, I had a blank.
No.
Fair enough.
I had a blank.
Hammer throw. Isn't that Canadian? Ice hockey.
Right, I should. Yeah, okay.
Did I have to specify ice? I just say hockey.
Yes. You had to say ice hockey. Of course you fucking did. They're different. For goodness sake. They don't have fields in Canada. I don't know. I'm guessing. Snow, innit?
Sure.
Moose. And that Jamaican film, obviously, Cool Runnings, the best Disney film of all time. And it's bobsled. Bobsled.
Okay.
Fine. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, Ian, you got 3?
2.
It's up to you.
Hey. Oh. Hey. New York. Title race on, boys.
Yeah.
I'm down by 1 with 2 weeks to go.
No, title race isn't on. This is just a dead cat bounce.
But that means you're Liverpool and I'm City, so...
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, this is
Chuck,
true.
I hope you have a tiebreaker if we end up tied for the season.
No, I'll just make the last one worth 1 more point than the other one could get if they win it.
Or we do it like a Patreon summer Zoom quiz and then we do it there.
Admin. Someone else can sort that out. Right, well then, it's been a pleasure. We're back. Yes, we've had it. Watford are gone. Norwich are gone. Roy Hodgson's gone. We're gone. He still hasn't played the music. Jesus fucking
I'm literally just waiting for a beat, but you know.
You played it earlier when I said don't play it, and then you thing. And
He's very sensitive about mistiming the jingles these days, Chuck. Just let
I
him
know.
have it.
Oscar, please say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ian, you too.
Love you all, bye.
It's been a pleasure being back with you. Thanks to our producer Patreons as ever, Johnny, Nate, Mark, Sam, Jeff, and Deep End Praise. He is from Sutton.
Wear your sunglasses, for Christ's sake.